welcome to December book haul and spoiler-free reviews. I'm going to share with you 3 of the books that I got this month and have read and my thoughts on them. So we're going to start with the first one I purchased, which is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Now, I was under the extremely mistaken thought that this was a new book, and it is not. This one released in 2012. I just picked up the second one, so I'm super excited to read that. My thoughts on The Darkest Mind. You know what? I really enjoyed this book. It was in first person, which in in a funny twist, I actually don't usually love first person books. A lot of times if I see that a book is written in first person, I will often put it down if the voice doesn't speak to me pretty much immediately. And I think all 3 of the books that I have to share with you guys are all first person, so it's a little bit ironic. But this book is the story of a kind of post-apocalyptic scenario where we have children who start developing some very special abilities, some of them very, very dangerous, and what happens as the world basically collapses around this event happening. The kids are taken and they are put in something very much resembling concentration camps. It's a very horrifying scenario. I've always been actually a little bit fascinated with the concentration camps and Hitler's reign of terror, and not in a good fascination way. It blows my mind that these kind of horrors have existed in society. And this is, I don't know, I guess realistic enough for me that it kind of freaked me out in that way. People are so scared of the unknown and so scared of different that I can see things like this happening. So I did very much enjoy the book from that standpoint of the post-apocalyptic scene that is real enough that I can imagine it happening. What I did not like about the book, there were a couple of things that I didn't love how it was handled. One was a sexual assault scene. It wasn't horribly graphic, but it was very clear what had happened. And I was really disappointed with the lack of action on the main character's part. Now, that being said, one thing I do, because I write books, because I'm an author, whenever I find something in a book that I'm like, oh man, I don't like that, I always kind of stop and think, like, what would I have done? How would I have written it that would have been different? And with the couple of times that I didn't love her choices, one was the sexual assault, one was what happened at the end, and I thought, what would I have done? And I would have done the same thing. She honored the characters, she honored the situation, she didn't make it something that it wasn't to make a statement about how wrong and horrible it was, which is what I obviously was looking for. But the situation and the abilities that these kids had and the point in their development that they were at, she handled the situation true to how it should have been handled. And so I can absolutely respect that, even if I didn't like it, and I always appreciate that in a book. So if you have not read The Darkest Minds, I would recommend it, especially if you enjoy post-apocalyptic, anything with, kids having special abilities, and a really good first-person voice that sometimes makes you forget that it's in first person. All right, the next one I picked up and read was Even the Darkest Stars by Heather Fawcett. This book I really, really enjoyed. I've found a lot of times part of the reason that I struggle with first person is you get too much in the characters' heads. And the characters, for some reason, it seems like, especially with the female voices, that they get really whiny like all the time. And I've been accused of writing whiny character before, and so I don't have a problem with characters being real and having emotions. But the problem is when you are in their head, you're so much more aware of it. And I really liked that the main character in this book was very real. She had emotions, she was conflicted, but you didn't ever get this sense of like, oh my gosh, stop whining. She was just very real and very down to earth, and I liked her for that. She definitely had a fearlessness about her, but it wasn't a overdone fearlessness. I think if you guys have watched, I did a video on female characters and how I don't think that the answer to strong female characters is making them so kick butt that they're unrealistic. Like, writing female characters without emotion and with 5 million abilities and like that doesn't help us. Like, that doesn't strengthen women. Like, it just makes it one more thing that's not feasible for us to be. We also have to have perfect hair, perfect makeup, oh, and have no emotions and be able to totally take down anyone. It's just, it's not, it's not possible. And so I really like that she made her a very strong, courageous character by nature, which there are lots of women who are that. And then she ran up against, you know, her own thoughts and feelings and conflicted emotions and dealing with her own, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I hate when I lose words. um, oh my gosh, her own aspirations getting in the way and navigating that field. This is a story of a village girl who goes to climb basically the unclimbable peak. Would be kind of the equivalent of you deciding to climb Mount Everest with an explorer for the king to get herself out of the village that she really doesn't want to be in. She doesn't want to be that person and get married, and you know, she wants to be this adventurer. So this is really her chance, and she takes it, and it turns out being not exactly what she thought, and full of fantasy adventures. You know, we've got ghosts and witches and a little fire demon who is actually really intriguing, and I like him, and I'm really interested to see where she takes that in the next book. So if you like fantasy, you like first person, even if you're a little on the fence, this is very well done, and I would highly recommend it. All right, and the last book I picked up because the cover was fan-freaking-tastic, and the word dragon was on the back, so you get a good cover and dragon, and I'm in. So that is the Last Namsara. Like, seriously, guys, look at this. And it's even prettier in person. It's like, it's gold and silver, and it's reflective, and it's so pretty. This, oh my gosh, yeah, I just drool on this cover. Like, seriously, it is just stunning. So, the Last Namsara is very interesting world. A lot of legends going in, a lot of mistaken stories where you think one thing and then you figure out that that's not in fact the case. And the book actually revolves a lot around stories. My only complaint with the Last Namsara is the love story that is happening. Like, the main character, like, it was adorable and sweet and totally gave me the flutters, and like I wanted to read more about the love story. So it's not that I didn't like it, but the main character was so dense sometimes. Like, I was like, oh, come on, like, nobody is that blind. So I did struggle a little bit with that, with some of the cues that she missed out on, or things that were very obvious that she was like, what? But other than that, the love story was sweet, and it was adorable, and you definitely cheered it on, and you wanted him to get the girl, and you wanted her to step into her role that she should have been all along, and to kind of set aside her demons from the past. So it says, like, the little tagline is, a forbidden love, a kingdom at war, a secret that will change everything. And I'd say that sums up the story pretty well. So my daughter, who is 11, read this and absolutely devoured it, completely loved it. So if you guys like fantasy, especially in a rich world that's very culture rich, very bright, and it's got dragons. So I would recommend The Last Namsara as well. Was it my favorite of the three? I don't know. There were a few things in this book that, like I said, kind of made me go, eh. So I don't know that it would be my favorite. I think my favorite was probably even The Darkest Stars out of this haul, but I would definitely recommend The Last Namsara if you see it. Pick it up and let me know what you think. All right, that's it for this month. I will have some more books for you next month, including the second book to The Darkest Minds, which I'm super excited to read. And I hope to talk to you guys later. If you guys haven't subscribed, please check below. Follow me. I'd love to have you guys. Also, if you would like to come find me on Instagram or Facebook, I do a lot of live videos, Insta stories, and I would love to see you over there. Because Devri Walls is not the most common name in the world, I get it everywhere I go. So Devri Walls Instagram, Devri Walls Facebook, Devri Walls YouTube, pretty easy to find. Thanks for listening, you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.